We're back. Greetings, everyone. Good to see you all again for another episode 26 of AEZ Canada. So it's great to have. We got a full house tonight, which is awesome. I thought we had a really good show last week, and we got there's three of us, and now we're doubling up. I think Connor's going to be right back. So tonight, we're going to be running through our usual Dynamite. We'll go through the card as well as give our feedback and our predictions. And then near the end, even though we are an AEW focused show, we also like to touch on some of the big storylines that go on in the rest of the wrestling world. So we'll touch on some of the what we think is going to happen in the WWE and the road to WrestleMania with some of the controversies that are out there. So, but we'll say that. Well, I will turn it over first to Adam. Adam, how are you, sir?
I'm good. Yes, no, glad to be back. Missed last week's episode, but hey, I'm back again to help out and give my 2 cents in. So,
all right. Well, you're always welcome. It's always good to have you aboard. Mr. Hargrave, how you doing, sir?
Yes, I like to broadcast all of my feelings on my YouTube channel. That's Mr. Hargrave from Parts Unknown. You can find it by just typing in Mr. Hargrave and AEW. Make sure you go there and watch all my videos.
Awesome. We'll do that right after our show. Byron, how are you?
Hi.
How are you doing this week?
I'm doing really good. I left my house. I went to some game tournaments, did some interviews, going to do some more game tournaments this weekend. Really exciting stuff.
Awesome. Good to hear. How's your temperature in Saskatchewan these days?
It's only -4.
Oh. Yeah, you can go in your shorts.
Yeah, man, it's t-shirt weather.
Yeah, that's great. And we have a newcomer, first time to the show. Hammer?
Yes.
Welcome to the show. And
thank you.
Yeah. So how are you? Are you a long time wrestling fan as well?
Oh yeah. I've already done a couple of these videos for the other AEZ YouTube spots, and yes, been a fan since going back to the Hulkamania days. So when they announced it, boy, it's been 40 years of Hulkamania, I'm like, man, I am old. So that's where I'm at.
I would say probably my year I started watching was 1985.
Okay, yeah, that's about the same for me.
Right. So I think WrestleMania on Coliseum Video VHS was the first wrestling tape that my dad ever rented for me, and then that was it. I was done. So, I'm Matt Natty Chief here again. That's great. So let's just dive right into it. Adam, I'm going to pass it over to you to start off the show.
Well, last week's episode of Dynamite did start off with a really fun match. It started off with Jeff Hardy against Jon Moxley. A little fun fact about this, some of the CMLL guys were at ringside watching the match and kind of interact with Jon Moxley. This match was a really good match. I think Hardy, I don't know if he's slowed down a little bit, but he still showed a little bit of some pizzazz in the match. Obviously, there were some spots like the Irish whip in the corner where Jeff went down and Moxley was ready to do something else after, but I don't know if that was intentional or anything like that. But it was a good match. Moxley ended up winning after Hardy missed the swanton, and basically Moxley does his chokehold, put him to sleep. And a little funny, crazy thing at the end when Mox tried to shake Jeff Hardy's hand, he gave him the bird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did see a little heel Jeff Hardy there. He did the old choke. He was doing the choke on the outside, and then the bird at the end there. That was good. Siren, what did you think about the opening match?
I really liked it. I mean, it's two of my favorite wrestlers, so I was pretty okay. And Jeff has been looking pretty crisp lately, in my opinion. He did look a little bit slower in that match. With the CMLL guys or whatever, they did have a little interaction at the end as well. And because the Blackpool Combat Club wasn't there, we had a host of other people came out. And I believe Christopher Daniels was one of them. And I love Christopher Daniels. So whenever I get to see him on TV, I'm like, yay! So all in all, it was really great for me.
Hammer?
Yeah, I thought it was an interesting match. Hardy has obviously lost his step. I mean, how could he not, right? At this point of his life and of his career. But I think he did an admirable job. He looked better in this match than I've seen him in recent matches, say, since the new year, since the year turned. It highlighted to me. I don't know. I always seem to find these little things to pick at. Hope nobody minds too much, but it just highlights to me that, you know what, here's Jeff Hardy trying to be a heel, and you know, whether you're a face or a heel, it seems to matter so little to this audience. It's kind of weird. I find that weird, but anyway, he tried. He did his best to try and make something happen. I also find it really weird. Where were the Blackpool Combat Club guys? Like, that made no sense to me that they wouldn't come out to help Moxley. Don't know. Don't get it, but whatever.
And down to parts unknown.
Yeah.
Mr. Hargrave.
Yeah, I think Danielson was over on Collision. I don't know if he was around for Dynamite. I can't remember at this point. But yeah, it's a good match. I like Swerve versus Hardy much better. But it was definitely a good match to start the show off.
Yeah, no, I think kind of we've talked about Jeff a few times and kind of losing his step. Well, I think they're really pairing him with complementary guys like Swerve. I mean, we've seen Swerve look amazing with anybody, and Moxley. You know, I'm sure wants to make sure this guy, you know, does his best. Will help him out, and you know, so he's got the spotlight. Like he's been in some few really good matches. Yes, he's lost, but again, I don't think in this case that is a loss. I mean, just going against Moxley, Swerve on Dynamite prime time, that's still a win for Jeff Hardy, I think. So good match. We'll see. Interesting. I know you guys brought up the points, but the little finger at the end, and man, it was. I thought Moxley's face actually. He actually looked surprised. Like that almost looked like a genuine, like, really? So anyways, if it wasn't, it was actually played off really well. And I did like the chokehold. And you know what? Maybe this is a time. Maybe this is what Jeff Hardy needs do a heel turn. What was his character's name? What's his alter ego?
Brother Nero.
What's that?
Brother Nero, is that the
Brother Nero? Yeah. Is it time to bring out Brother Nero and maybe go a bit dark?
Couldn't hurt.
You know, I think it's as good a time as any. So, but with that, Adam, over to you for our next match.
Yeah, and a little side note, I like that they brought in CMLL. It just shows the great partnership that Tony Khan has with other promotions and willing to work with other promotions. So I thoroughly enjoyed that. The next match we had actually was the Dealer's Choice match that Swerve Strickland had picked for Hangman Page. And this one I was excited for because I know we've talked about this guy before from Mogul Embassy, and that's Hangman Adam Page versus Tua Leona. I love Tua. He moves great for a big guy. I love his aesthetics, his looks, you know, honoring that Samoan heritage with all that. This was a really like hard-hitting match between both guys. There's a lot of outside work going on out there, you know, Tua doing a splash to the outside to Hangman, and then Hangman doing some work to him out there. Obviously, there was a lot of close finishes. I don't know how I feel about the pin. I wish it would have been a better pin, but he ended up just cradling him and pinning him. And basically, it was a good match, and they tried to get after Tua tried to attack Hangman after, but Hangman doing his little shtick of putting the chair in the middle of the ring and sitting there trying to look like a hard-ass cowboy. I think it was one of Hangman Page's better matches, and Tua just looks great, especially seeing him on singles run. I'd like to see more of that.
All right. Well, I don't know if you can see my little catchphrase here below, but it's the mustache. I'm telling you, he's bringing out the power of the mustache. Every getting bigger, and he's getting bigger wins. Siren, over to you. Your thoughts on this one?
I really like that they're putting him. That they put him in a singles match. I like that that Toa took that the buckshot lariat and just kind of, you know, and then finish that up with the Samoan drop. But yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge Hangman fan. So like at the end of the day, I still hope that he doesn't succeed. So
we'll see.
Emmer, what are your thoughts?
I thought it was a decent match. I went into it kind of thinking like, gee, you know, why Toa Leona? Like, why not somebody maybe a little bit more established? It's okay, I guess. You know, everybody has to kind of start somewhere, so I didn't mind it so much. Good match. I enjoyed this match a lot, and I think Toleona really showed me something. I hope they can sustain it.
Right. Mr. Hartgrave.
Yeah, amazing singles debut for Toa Leona. I thought it was a great showing, and I like Hangman and hope he succeeds at everything he does.
Nice.
I'll just comment that I'm not a big Hangman fan either. So I'm
We finally agree on something, Amber.
Cowboy shit.
Yeah.
You know what? I think we've been we're all becoming a bit like Toa fans. We've only had positive things. I think he's going to get a big push. I think it makes sense. It actually made sense. I know your point, Imran, when you said, well, like, a little more established to face Hangman for their match, but then it did also make sense that Swerve picked someone from his own crew.
Who's never been pinned or submitted.
So that
I hadn't considered that.
So that made sense to me, but I was kind of like you, like, really, and I thought it was a good showing. And because if you look at him, he's a beast, right? He's that wild someone, and he's not related to any of like the families, right? And so
I looked him up. He's not.
Okay, good. So there is actually someone who wrestles outside who can actually be Samoan and not part of that family. Okay, that's good.
Let's go. Let's go.
No, I like him. I think there's going to be big things. I think we're going to see a lot more of them, and I hope so. And with that, Adam, we will go to the next segment or match.
So the next segment, actually, I still don't know how I feel about these characters, but it was a backstage earlier segment with the Jackson brothers, the Young Bucks, now going by Nicholas and Matthew, obviously, basically confronting a PA and finding them, doing the whole good EVP, bad EVP, where it's like, hey, man, he's in a mood, but hey, don't forget to pay that fine. So I thought I don't know how I feel about their character, their heel work right now is putting in that EVP role. I guess we'll see when it comes time when they face Darby Allin and Sting at Revolution.
Right. Siren.
I want to see them own it. I love it, actually. I love it. I love to hate them. And the fact that they're so talented and they do some really unique in-ring stuff. You cannot hold it against them. They're really great at being tossed around. They're really great at tossing people around. They're good at it. People hate them so naturally that I think that these characters are going to be so fun. And it's just, I love it. I'm loving it so much. And yeah, good cop or like good VP bad. But I mean, at the end of the day, they were both still kind of douchebags. And I loved it.
All right. Amber, what was your thoughts on the EVPs?
I still think it remains to be seen with them. I like, in principle, I like the idea, embrace the douchebaggery. I said that from the very, very beginning. Lean into it and really just kind of go with it. And I think they're trying. I'll give them credit for trying. I'm not big fan of the Young Bucks at all. But I admit that they are trying. I just have this thing in the back of my head that, they're playing roles rather than being the characters. I'll give them a chance, right? I mean, it's still early. It's only been a few weeks. Let's see how it plays out.
Fair enough. Connor?
Can you guys hear me all right?
Yes.
All right. For me, it's I'm saying like people already know this, but I'm not the biggest Young Buck fan. Probably never will be. But the stuff they're doing is pretty entertaining. It's not as Amar said, I'm willing to see how this goes after Revolution, because that's really the true test. After Sting's gone, this is what their feud's going on right now with Darby and Sting. So when Sting is gone, that's going to really show what they can really do with these new EVP type characters. For so far it's been pretty entertaining. It's I'm interested to see where it goes.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see where it goes. Hopefully it'll go. If they can make it anything close to what Tony Storm has done, they'll be great characters. Mr. Hargrave, your thoughts on the EVPs?
Yeah, I am the biggest Young Bucks fan. I think we should see a lot more of them on TV. Actually, if 50% of the show is Young Bucks, that would be fantastic. And I'm really looking forward to seeing these characters in the ring and see what that's all about and see if some of this character work will come into their ring work. Very in anticipation of that.
Great. You know what? I'm interested in seeing where this goes. I too was not the biggest Young Buck fan, but I do
Young Bucks.
appreciate. But they're great performers and they work really well in the ring, and I find them pretty innovative. So you know what? I give them props for that. So with that, we will head over to the next segment, which is
It's actually a match between Wardlow being accompanied by the Undisputed Kingdom. Still love that name for that group against Commander, against the hype man Alex. So this match was actually, you would have thought it would be a squash because of Wardlow, but Commander actually did put up some good offense. And there were some points where I actually thought he had Wardlow for a second, pull the upset. And I honestly thought someone would come out to distract United, Undisputed Kingdom long enough to have Commander upset. But in the end, Wardlow used his power and power bombed Commander, and a very awkward power bomb as well. It looked like his knee kind of gave out a little bit, and he was actually upset. You can see after the match that Wardlow was a little upset at something, and I think he knew he kind of hurt himself. But then he kind of tweeted out later saying, "No, I'm good. Nothing wrong with it. Just a little tweak. I'm still good." Everything like that. So maybe it's nothing too extensive to throw some plans into what the United Kingdom, Undisputed Kingdom has planned. So, and then after that, obviously, they were about to beat up Commander, and Orange Cassidy and Best Friends came down, and obviously we're setting up the match between Roderick Strong versus Orange Cassidy for the AEW International Championship of Revolution. So I honestly thought it was a good match segment, and it really does hype up the match between Roderick Strong and Orange Cassidy.
Sure. The longest hype for a match was at 7-8 weeks. That's like 1980s style. Siren, over to you.
I liked it. I always find Commander entertaining in ring. I feel like the reason that a lot of people are like, who or what when he comes out is he really doesn't have any of his own story going on too often. So that's kind of unfortunate, but I do think he's very talented and it was really entertaining. I wish that we would see more Danhausen with Orange Cassidy. I wish that we would see more Danhausen in general. And if anybody from AEW ever watches this or sees it, please pass along that I want more Danhausen. Everybody wants more Danhausen. Gotta love that Danhausen. Like, it's just upsetting. Anyway, it was good.
I can take it or leave it.
I love Danhausen. Come on.
Keep him on Rampage.
We will not stand for this.
Okay. Well, let's see what Amber has to say about this.
I didn't like the match too much myself. I mean, the action was fine. But again, I'm saying, okay, there was this match, and then, okay, and now what? Like, this to kind of set up Roderick Strong and Orange Cassidy, which I think is going to be a very good match, it just seems kind of weird to me. I don't know. That's kind of how I found it. And it seemed like kind of like neither here nor there to me. That was just my take. Like, okay, give Commander some spots, don't squash him, but don't make Wardlow look too strong. Like, what am I supposed to get out of this? That's honestly how I felt about it. That was my take.
Yep. Yeah, you're not wrong there. Connor, what are your thoughts?
I thought it was what it was intended to be. It wasn't really a squash match. I thought going into it, it'd be a full-on squash match, power bomb, that'd be it. But they actually gave it a decent amount of time. I'd say maybe 10 minutes. They gave it. Commander got some offense. And yeah, it was what it was supposed to be. I feel like I do agree that the booking of the Undisputed Kingdom is a little for a group that took out MJF. And
yeah, it's a little hinky.
MJF wasn't the champion for a year. And they took him out. Like they took him out, and that was a big story. The Devil, Adam Cole, MJF to it. Feels like they're ice cold right now. It's a little. I don't know. It's not really how people would have thought they would have booked it. But the match itself was intended to be. I hope Wardlow's okay, which he did tweet. What Adam said, he did tweet out that he was okay, and then Brandon Alvarez says he's not okay. So who do we trust, the person or reporter? So I'm gonna go with Wardlow. He says he's okay. So yeah, I thought the match was what it was intended to be.
Well, I guess let's see when he shows up next. We'll understand that.
Oh, you're pretty muffled, honey bunch.
Mr. Hargrave, your thoughts?
There you go. Couldn't hear it. Yeah, no, I don't really have much to say about the match because, I don't know. Wardlow's hurt, not hurt, but it definitely impacted the match itself, so not much to say there. But, I'll agree with Connor about the Undisputed Kingdom being ice cold. I was excited from the first Dynamite. I was there in Newark for it, and I know some people thought it wasn't this or wasn't that. I thought it was super exciting. I was really pumped to see what the Undisputed Kingdom would do, and now I don't care. They've done nothing.
Yeah, no, I'm tending to kind of agree with you. They were on fire for the first week, which is kind of where are they going to go? But let's see. After the next pay-per-view, if there's some really good outcomes, some really good action, that'll help. But we'll see how it goes. I'm glad it wasn't a squash match. We already went through the whole squash match run with Wardlow when they were trying to pump him off. So we've already seen that. And Commander's still right now, he's kind of representing the Lucha Bros. So you can't have him completely get demolished because, again, he still has to keep, as long as he's representing that crew, he has to have some integrity, right? They got to keep that. So with saying that, we go over to Tony Schiavone, I believe.
Yeah, and before I go to that, kind of follow up with Connor about who do we trust, the reporter or the wrestler. I'll trust the pro wrestler over the reporter any day because it's just dirt sheets at this point with a lot of things. So, I mean, if we learned anything from Barry Alvarez and Uncle Dave, all that stuff, yeah, we shouldn't trust them at all. But the next segment is the sit-down interview with Tony Schiavone with Sting, Darby Allin, and the AEW World Tag Team Champs, Big Bill and Ricky Starks, absolute Ricky Starks. Segment was really good. Ricky Starks brought up the point of this is something he has to finish, as Sting's first match again in AEW tag match was against him when there was no audience, basically. And he says, I need that validation. You're basically, you started with me, so you need to have more respect for me now, because that's what it is. We talk about respect, and Darby even butts in and says, respect, that's what you're talking about. You want respect the icon. So that's a lot of crap. You don't respect them at all. So this man's career is not a stepping stone. Those are the words Darby Allin used. So obviously, it was a good back and forth. Sting got in a couple of stuff. Big Bill even got in, talking about it, saying, people run their mouths about YouTube, but nobody talks about us as tag champs. Everybody's overlooking us. So it was a good back and forth, and it kind of ended with Ricky throwing water in Darby's face, kind of doing that, and Sting getting in between saying, dude, he's going to hit you, but not now. So it was a good build up to the tag match for Dynamite. So really good stuff. And I'm actually really excited to see how this match goes.
Agreed. Siren, over to you.
There was a little line in there that was like Sting said that Darby was overprotective of him or very protective of him or something. And I was just like, aw. But yeah, overall, I thought it was a really good interaction. I am always super freaking shocked when I hear Big Bill talk, because I don't expect him to be that articulate. And there he goes, opening his mouth and words are coming out in proper sentences. And I'm like, look at that. And so it's always shocking, and I just love it. But yeah, I thought it was pretty cool.
Cool. Amber.
Yeah, I think it was an interesting segment. I actually made the point last week, I forget whether it was Thursday or Friday, when we were discussing Dynamite, about why this happened backstage and not in the ring. Because, we've seen Sting and Darby Allin in the ring cutting promos. We've seen Big Bill and Ricky Starks in the ring cutting promos. I remember one Jericho against Adam Copeland. So we know they can do it. But they're doing this backstage with Renee. And I think it's interesting, Siren, I hadn't considered that point. But maybe it was just a thing where, Sting is obviously kind of calling the shots with how he wants his career to wind down and how he wants this to play out. And he's earned that. No problem with that. So I think I'm getting the impression that he wanted it to go a certain way. He wanted everybody to kind of hit their spots, hit their lines, whatever. I would have preferred to have seen this be out in the ring, where it might have been a little bit more organic, or seemed more organic. But I guess I'm kind of going in circles. It got across, the points got across, but it did highlight for me the fact that these guys need to be backstage to make sure that they hit their spots. And they probably had to do a few takes. Not terrible, but you know what? I think they're capable of doing this out in the ring. I would have liked to have seen that a little bit more. But the segment did what it needed to do.
Fair enough.
Could have all been for the cup of water.
Yep. Connor.
Yeah, we did talk about this not too long ago, and I agree with Amar. I thought they should have done it the style of Tony and Deanna on the stage. It felt the crowd was involved, which it's not bad having a backstage interview, because I thought this segment was really, really good. I thought this is Sting's last match, so I feel like it would have been a lot more crowd interaction with that. I like promos and stuff like in the ring or on the stage. I like the way they did Dion and Tony. It was very, very good. Crowd was in it, and it was more exciting, I felt. But the promo was really good, though, between Sting, Darby, and Starks and Big Bill. Yeah, I agree with Amar. Should have been in the ring or on the stage. But really good segment between these four guys.
Cool. Mr. Hargrave.
Hey, see, the problem is you got broken little Adam Cole, and you got to get him in his little wheelchair all the way up that big ramp. So I think you just got to cut to this pre-recorded segment to save a little TV time. And I thought it was good, and I wouldn't trust Ricky live on stage anyways. Highlight for me was Big Bill.
Yeah, I mean, I get that every so often they do these sit down, because the sit downs make it a more serious, like a conversation, and we're gentlemen here. Yes, it gives them time to kind of refine maybe some of the talking points and articulate maybe a bit better. They've done the in rings, the back, so this is trying to bring a little more seriousness to it, right? So I get it, and I mean, this is not unusual. WWE's done it for years, and AEW's done it tons. These kind of backstage pre-recorded sit downs. So I'm fine with it. It just kind of gives it a different look, different appearance. You don't have the crowd; they can just kind of concentrate. You're just listening to them. So I guess it was needed. So from there, we will move over to the ROH World Television Championship match.
I think it was a non-title. I think it was just Kyle Fletcher representing the Don Callis family going against Chris Jericho, which is wild to see Chris Jericho back on Dynamite with everything going on with him and all the backstage not politics, but the stories going on with him and allegations, whether they're true or not, that's hearsay. But it was him and Kyle Fletcher. Again, this is kind of reminiscent of when he goes one-on-one with someone young, fast-paced, kind of like what he did with All In with his name just escaped me. Oh God, Will Ospreay. Thank you. But obviously Jericho mixing it in with these fast-paced wrestlers. There was one spot where Fletcher planted Jericho with the Michinoku driver, which I thought was very decent looking. But obviously there's the distraction from the Don Callis family, Will Hobbs, and obviously Don Callis himself. A lot of back and forth, a lot of stuff on the outside action, a couple of Judas effects, and the end of it is the top rope Judas effect, which I'll be honest with you guys, I don't think I've ever seen Chris Jericho do a top rope Judas effect before. This might have been the first time I've seen him do it. So it was very interesting. I still don't know how I feel about where they're going with this, as Jericho has just been playing it in this feud with Don Callis. I don't know if it's going to come down to a match between him and Don Callis, but obviously the match was decent. Thought it was a decent match, and then obviously we had the stare down of Konosuke and Jericho, as Konosuke is going to be Jericho's next opponent. So I really want to see where they're going with this story, but I feel like it's just been dragged out so far.
Siren, how do you feel about Kyle Fletcher or Jericho in this one?
Kyle Fletcher needs to change his naked pants because I hate them and it looks like he's naked and I don't like them. There was a really odd like miss brainbuster moment that was kind of weird in that match, and then also a spot where Jericho's on the outside of the ring and Kyle Fletcher jumps out and he Judas affects him, and that was really cool. But yeah, all in all, good match. I think that Hobbs should stay away from anybody who's been in the business more than 30 years because I think that I'm afraid of him breaking them. And yeah.
Amber, your thoughts?
Same as the others. It was a very good match. I don't know. I don't know where this is going either, and I think this is just like kind of all Jericho has to kind of keep it going. And whatever. It is what it is. I'm looking forward to the Takeshita match. It would be nice if that could just be a straight one-on-one with no interference. I don't see that happening. And I totally agree with Siren that, this is just such a waste of Will Hobbs, the way that they're using him like this right now. It's sad that a guy like that is just basically, a totem pole. That just makes me a little sad, but anyway.
Yeah. Connor, what were your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I hate to sound like a broken record, but I am done with this feud. I don't want to see it no more. I mean, me and Adam went to Dynamite August of last year. They were doing this. I am done with it. I don't want to see it anymore.
It's been that long? Wow. Okay.
I don't want to see it on my TV anymore. It's bad enough Marina Shavir's on our TV time, but golly, I am done.
That's one. That's one.
But this was really, really good. This is one of my favorite matches on the entire show, actually. Jericho and Fletcher, really good back and forth match. I didn't think it. Even if Jericho won, I don't think it made Kyle Fletcher look weak at all because he really took it to Jericho, and several occasions Kyle Fletcher could have won that match. But really good back and forth match, but it's got to end.
Cool. Mr. Hargrave.
Yeah, I agree, Connor. I feel that way about every Jericho angle that's ever been after the first week. I just want it to kind of end. And you said Jericho versus Don Callis, and now that's what I want, and I'm not going to be happy unless I get it. I need it now. Sounds great.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a pretty good match. I think Kyle Fletcher reminds me and has that look of Will Ospreay. That's just the same. Again, Will is amazing. It's hard to compare anyone to him, but Kyle Fletcher has that kind of look and feel to him. So I could see them really boosting him up. He had a good look, and the more we see his personality, he's going to get a good push.
Can anybody explain to me why this wasn't a title match?
To be very honest, I didn't even realize Fletcher's the ROH TV champ. I didn't even.
Now Fletcher's the champ. What the hell's going on?
I don't think they even mentioned it, did they?
Adam.
There's a reason for it because it was just Kyle Fletcher representing the Don Callis family, so title didn't need to be defended because Chris Jericho already won the Ring of Honor World title. Why does he want the TV title?
Chris Jericho didn't want it. That's why.
All right, so on to the next one. We go to
a segment with the Bang Bang Scissor Gang. For me, this was just listen. This is just filler TV because you gotta have your Ring of Honor 6-man tag, and you gotta have your trios title champions up there. I didn't even think we still had trios titles because the Acclaim haven't been defending them. And as much as I love Billy Gunn, Daddy Ass, just the reason for them taking off of House of Black and not barely defending them, for me, is just bad booking. And honestly, just them going back and forth with humor about, we need the cutout. Where's where's his cutout? They're like, no, we got rid of that. He's fired. Bring up the Juice board, and it was Juice Robinson's board because I think he's still out with an injury. And it was just really filler, and I didn't find it thrilling or funny at all.
Siren, what are your thoughts on this group?
I thoroughly enjoy the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass, but I do not understand, nor do I like the whole shenanigans that are going on right now with the Bang Bang Scissor Gang. I said the only redeeming quality of that whole team up, and it was as it was happening, I was like, if they don't put the gun in the scissors, I'm gonna be very upset. And then it happened, and that's the only redeeming quality that I have found about it so far.
Amber, what are your thoughts on? Do you like this group together?
No, I just don't. I'm just like, you know how sometimes something like the whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
Mhm.
This is the exact opposite of that, in every imaginable way. Like, I mean, are they going to bring out like a 12-man tag set of belts? Like, is that what they're going to do? This is nonsensical even for AEW booking, and think of the ground that covers. Right? It's not doing anybody any favors at all in any imaginable way. If anybody can point out how any one of these 6 guys is benefiting from this, I'd love to hear it.
Connor, where do you think it's going?
I hope it goes towards Revolution. These two teams going against each other because their rankings are back. And who is number 1? It's Bullet Club Gold. And they're with the Acclaim, the Belly Gun. So, and there we go. So hopefully we get some type of. I agree with Adam. It's filler at this point, just to put them out there really, and to get the fans, because the fans always enjoyed Acclaimed on the mic. It seems.
I love that.
Just so they can get that line, scissor me daddy ass, and then we got now the Bang Bang Gang. It's just to get that out there. But I hope this ends soon.
It's a solid line.
I really feel like the House of Black never should have lost those titles, because at least they were defending them. I can't remember the last time the Acclaimed Belly Gun defended them, but hopefully this sets up for a match at Revolution.
Right, Mr. Hartgrave, how are you finding this group?
Yeah, I think this segment was just for the courtesy of the live audience, which is great. But yeah, that's when I'm watching it at home, I'm really not getting anything from it. Total filler.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's like the court jesters that come out and kind of entertain between the bands play, right? And I think it goes over very well live. But I almost feel it's so ridiculous that there's going to be a turn. I would love to see that if it was the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass turned on them, and because they're all like roses and pink and everything's great and hype, but I think they've lost some of their luster because they started to really gain some steam right before they fully turned, when they were still heel, because people still loved, because they just had a good presence about it. But I think they've kind of lost that. So I agree. Something's going to happen. Have a match. Break this crew up. It is ridiculous. I mean, we all know it's not going anywhere, and they're just doing it for hype. I'm sure it's selling. I mean, they're smart if they're doing it for merchandise, because I'm sure. Whatever. I'd love to see what the revenues have been on some of these shirts, right? Because again, Tony's all about promotions. He's all about making money. So, but hey, that's okay. If it works, it works. Just don't let it go too long. And with that, we go over to Taya.
Taya and Taya Valkyrie and the virtuosa Diana Perazzo. This actually was one of my favorite matches on the show. I think both women really showed good wrestling skills against each other. Obviously, you had the whole Johnny TV there as the distraction, the real life husband of Taya Valkyrie. I think both of them showed. I mean, obviously, Taya I've been a fan of since I saw her back in Lucha Underground, to where she wrestled in TNA and now in AEW. She's always put on good matches. And obviously the Virtuosa, 3-time TNA Knockouts champion, she's always doing some great stuff in the ring. Good back and forth. Obviously, it ended with Diana doing one of her submissions, which basically like rocking both her arms like into one place, like up and out, and she's like tapping out. So I think if you do it one-on-one, I think a good matchup would be, I'd love to see in the future, is Diana versus Serena Deeb. Just because both of them had that ground skill and the locks and everything and submission holds, I would love to see what that match looks like. Obviously, you had timeless Tony Storm commentary during the match. And I love the fact every time they cut to Tony Storm, it's black and white. Anytime.
Mm-hmm.
We saw it in the little stage interview when they were on the stage, and this camera was split down the middle, black and white for Tony, and then all color for Deonna. I love that. So I'm actually really excited to see these two women, in a match against each other at Revolution. So we'll be getting that for the AEW Women's title.
Well, I love the when the ladies in the ring and Tony said, "Well, they're no Wendy Richter." Again, incredibly twice. It's awesome. Siren, over to you. Your thoughts on this match?
I loved it. I'm really liking Deonna in AEW so far. I feel like she's already brought a lot to the women's division, which is really cool. And she's gotten like a lot of screen time already, which is great. And she's a fantastic talker and obviously has great in-ring ability. I love Taya Valkyrie. I think she is phenomenal. I absolutely hate Johnny TV. I hate him with the fiery burning passion of 1,000 suns. But I think that what he's doing.
Do you want to smash his face?
Oh my god, I want to smash his face! Like, throw cheese at him. Yeah, no, 150%. I love what he's doing with Dalton, though. I really do. The thing that I don't like about him is it looks like he's pretending to do everything. Like he's pretending to walk, he's pretending to run, he's pretending to it's just like everything he's doing is just, I don't know, and I can't handle it. But otherwise, great match, fantastic. Could do without him.
Hammer, what are your thoughts?
I really enjoyed the match. I think it was ideal. These two women match up really, really well. And I agree with what Siren is saying. Like the way that they're booking Deonna Purrazzo, giving her a presence and establishing her, this is exactly how you set up a quality star for your division. So, credit where credit is due. They don't, certainly AEW doesn't do it enough. I don't think there'll be a whole lot of disagreement about that, but they're doing the right thing with Deonna Purrazzo. I just have this thing in the back of my head. After that match at Revolution, where does it go? I hope I'm wrong, but it may go nowhere. I really, really hope I'm wrong.
All right. Connor, over to you.
I thought this match was really, really good. It's probably besides my favorite match of the night was Moxley and Hardy, but this is one of my favorite matches as well. Back and forth match. These two went against each other in TNA a few times, so they have chemistry, and even outside of TNA, both women have chemistry with each other, so it looked like that they didn't have a problem working with each other. They knew what each other was going to do. They're familiar with each other. Really good match. And I agree with whoever said Deonna and Serena Deeb. That would be a really, really good match because Serena Deeb, a lot of submission holds. Deonna, for sure, that finish, she pretty much told the audience that she can win by submission if she needs to, and that was really, really painful. If you really put that submission on someone, that probably really, really hurt. I would not want to be put in that. Really good back and forth match, and I agree. I'm really excited for this match on pay-per-view. I thought this match, or this women's match, in a long time has had a really good build towards a pay-per-view. They've gotten mic time, but not just backstage promos, out in the ring. Mic time, they've gotten their matches. They've got a story to build, which we haven't seen that for the women, I'd say, since, I don't know, something with Saraya, or maybe Ruby Soho and Britt Baker. I could be wrong, but I thought this match was a really, really good.
Believability and credibility.
Yeah.
That's what we got out of this.
I'm just going to say I think Serena Deeb will be the first female member of the Blackpool Combat Club. Mr. Hargrave.
Yep, still enjoying this build more than the Orange Cassidy Roderick Strong build. Good job, ladies.
But you love that one too.
No, I got no
slow burn.
Still incredibly boring. And isn't there a segment that they do as well? I don't know where that segment happened, whether it was on Dynamite, Rampage. That's how memorable it is.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, we can head over. We've got another segment backstage, I believe.
Yeah, no, Renee trying to talk to Darby Allin, and obviously the Young Bucks show up and kind of continue their EVP. Yeah, this is Mr. Hartgrave's favorite thing. More Young Bucks on TV.
Yes.
So they
50%
come
more,
up
please.
and basically talk about Darb and say, listen, we like you, buddy. You're like playing that EVP heel role. Like, dude, listen, we like you. You know, you're a good kid. You know, they call Sting a 65-year-old blood-sucking leech to Darby and says, man, when he's gone, why don't all three of us get together, maybe make a new trio team and all that. And obviously they're like, listen, you know, they go, jokes aside, you've been dodging us, you've been ducking us, blah, blah, blah. You haven't been mentioning us. Darby's saying, you know, we're going after the tag team titles, so that's what we're worried about. And it was funny because Matthew made a very good comment after that, saying that, right, I guess we're going to have to get your attention a different way, which brings me to maybe they cost them the titles.
Damn it.
Very cool. Siren, how do you,
I
how do you
loved
get more
it.
Young Bucks? Your favorite?
Yep, I loved it. I was totally there for it. I just love how they talk so condescending. It's just so great. I'm like, I just love you, man. If I ever had somebody talk to me like that, I would punch you in the throat. Like, but I love watching you, you know, like it's great. So yeah, I'm like 10 out of 10. I love that.
Amber.
Same deal as before. I mean, I'm waiting to see it play out. It's part of the whole story, and it was okay. And you know what? If they can make me feel like normally I have X-Pac heat with the Young Bucks. I just want them to go away, but now I kind of hate them, and that's not a bad thing. That's what they're going for. That's their job. So
you know what? They would actually sell. They would sell me if they cut their hair and went.
The one buddy needs to cut his hair anyway. Yeah. He's going bald.
I know. So that's good.
We don't talk about that.
I know. He tries to cover it up so hard. I'm like,
don't talk about that.
He's been going bald for a while now.
I know. He's
receding.
Nicholas would prefer you don't mention that, please.
Yes.
Yeah, well, Nicholas needs to pull a Trent and just buzz it all off.
You'll get fined. They'll fine you.
I think that's a fine, Siren.
I'll take the fine.
I think so.
If he lets me touch his head after I shave it off.
Connor, how are your I know your thoughts. Any more thoughts on the Bucks?
I just don't want to see him get involved in that match. I want Sting and Darby to win. Like Sting's name going into the record books as an AEW champion says a lot about AEW. Like 20 years from now, Sting he's obviously not going to go for a singles title, so the next thing would be a tag team championship run. Not really a run, but for what it is, you know, until he retire. Obviously, he's retiring, but yeah, it was. I hated that Adam brought that up, but yeah, it was.
So is Sting actually 65 or is he 60?
He was born in 1962, so he'll be 62 this year.
Wow! So you could actually have technically, because didn't Daddy Ass just turned 60?
He's right up there.
Yeah. So you
right up there. Like, I apologize. Hold on a moment. Sting will be 65 in March.
That's insane. Whenever you're wrestling, you can have two guys in a promotion, 65 and 60, actually being champions.
I thought he was still in his 30s.
Billy Gunn is 60. That's correct.
That's insane. That's insane. Mr. Hargrave.
Yeah, regarding this incident, there was a report. Sources are saying that Darby Allin has heat within the AEW office due to a lack of professionalism and communication problems. One reliable source noted that he is late to respond to group text messages and Zoom calls and also isn't taking potential competition seriously. This report was posted by Brandon Cutler, so I tend to go with it. Yeah, I think
oh my God, I love it.
That's the first time I actually believe something from the dirt sheets.
That's awesome. I haven't seen Brandon in ages, so good to see he's still part of the PR team.
He's reporting on the Young Bucks activity, and I appreciate that he's keeping us apprised of the situation with unbiased reporting.
Yes, completely unbiased.
You're right.
Completely unbiased.
More of that. That will help solidify the Bucks. They need to start finding people. They need to go all in on this.
Brandon Cutler, the best press secretary in pro wrestling, right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, if he's going to pull stuff like this, yeah, absolutely.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Oh, if you get Brandon Cutler at the media scrum, that would be fantastic. Please do that.
yes.
Ooh,
Yes.
that would be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have him like, yeah, and he's like almost like the White House secretary, and just like all over the place. And,
We'll get back.
Softballs to the young
We'll
Bucks.
circle back around to the EVPs after this. Hold on.
yeah. Awesome. All right. So with this, we head over to our main event time. It's Dealer's Choice match.
Yeah, this one was really cool. Obviously, it was Swerve Strickland and Hangman's choice of wrestler, and it's been hinted at for a few weeks. And we pretty much knew it was going to be RVD, Rob Van Dam, coming out and wrestling Swerve. But the best thing was another Swerve that Hangman pulled on him, saying, "You didn't read the print. We get to choose the match type, so it's a hardcore match." And obviously, you had the hardcore moments in the match with Swerve and RVD. You had the Rolling Thunder on the chair. You had the whole outside stuff going on, and him draping Swerve on the barricade and doing the leg kick. Obviously, RVD can still go. It is crazy to see someone like RVD who for so much reason, he's kind of like Matt Riddle, where you can do enough marijuana and you still got the physicality to put on a wrestling match, you know?
That's what saved them.
So, but I honestly thoroughly enjoyed the match. Obviously, for me, between the women's match and this match, those were the two matches for me for the show that I thoroughly enjoyed, obviously. And honestly, seeing Swerve go over, and there were some crazy moments where, you know, Connor's boy, Brian Cage, came out and tried to help Swerve.
I don't want to talk about that.
And then Hook coming out to kind of even the odds. Obviously, you had some good moments. My favorite moment, obviously, the end when Swerve goes up to the top rope to hit the stomp, and RVD just giving the fingers like, "I don't care, dude, go for it." Bam, pin. So it was a really good match. And Swerve said in a post-match interview with, I believe, Tony Schiavone came out, or no, Adam Page came out to confront him.
Yes.
Basically saying he won and good job. The rankings are back, so blah, blah, blah. So you're going to have to do better. And Swerve says, "Dude, you still don't get in it. I've beaten you twice. I got nothing to prove." And Page saying, "You keep saying that." He goes, "But you don't beat me. Mogul Embassy helps you." And basically Swerve saying, "You know what? We're having one more match." And it's announced that they're going to have a one-on-one match on Dynamite to determine who faces Samoa Joe at Revolution. So I really thought it was a really good match and a good segment to end the show.
All right. And Siren, how do you feel about your boy, Mr. Hangman?
I absolutely despise Hangman. Anyway, he's growing on me like a fungus or something, you know. I don't know, but he's definitely growing on me. I don't like audibly make horrible sounds when he comes out anymore, so that's okay. The match itself was really good. As a super fan of the 420 community, I'm all about RVD. I think it is hilarious that AEW puts all of his YouTube clips up at 420 with the timestamp. That's awesome. Yeah, it was a really great match. I really hope that Swerve beats Hangman and he gets to go up against Samoa Joe, because I think that'd be great.
Very good. Emmer, how do you like this one?
I like this match, as everybody did. RVD is always entertaining. Like, I don't think it's possible for an RVD match to not be entertaining. And you know, styles make matches, and I think that Swerve, you know, I like the way that Swerve was able to work with RVD's style. I was really impressed with that, and I'm totally with Siren. I want to see Swerve go 3-0, and I'm afraid, I'm very, very afraid that somehow Adam Page wins tomorrow night, and I just think that would be a huge mistake. This is Swerve's time, and you know, it's interesting, Maddie, you said something that Tony was all about the money. We'll have to have a discussion about that offline, because I couldn't disagree more. But if you're right and Tony's all about the money, then Swerve wins tomorrow. My only problem with this match is, you know, when Hook and Brian Cage interfered, it was like blink and you miss it, and they were just kind of in and they were gone. Like, even I don't even think the commentators said anything about it, did they? Or it was like 15 seconds and they were out of the ring.
Yeah, super fast.
Yeah.
I literally blinked and missed it.
Yeah. And I'm like, why? Like I actually had to ask myself, and I'm like, okay, Hook and RVD, Mogul Embassy. Okay, I get it, but if I have to think about it instead of feeling it, yeah, I didn't like that. The commentator should have said something about it. It should have lasted a little longer. The camera should have hovered on a little bit. That's just what I think. But the match itself, fine. If you're gonna do stuff like that, have that interference, make it mean something.
They might have been pressed for time. Maybe, we don't know. Live television production.
The match lasted at least a good 5-6 minutes after that. I mean, they could have been brawling on the ramp, or I don't know what, but whatever. Anyway, that's my take.
I just think, to your point, I think they wanted to have a bit of interference, but not make the interference take it over. And they made it nice and short, quick. Like, no, you guys are trying to interfere, but we're not letting you. My prediction, I thought it was going to be Hook this week as the pick of going against Swerve. So I still like the fact that he came out and was still part of the match. So I felt like I wasn't totally wrong. But Connor, over to you. What your thoughts on RVD, especially him getting this is awesome and RVD chance at his age?
I thought this match was really good. RVD's been one of my favorites since I can remember. Growing up, my favorites were Jeff Hardy and RVD. I hated watching them against each other because I had to pick between the two. I couldn't sit there and watch a match between the two.
Invasion 2001. Yeah.
Yep, I could not go back and watch that because I could not pick between the two. Tag team, yeah, I'll go for Hardy and RVD, but this match was really, really good. They both had chemistry. And I don't think these two have ever went against each other. No. If they have, it was in the Independence years ago, but really good chemistry together. Back and forth match. RVD looks just like he did in the Attitude Era, Brutus Aggression Era. I think when he's 80, he'll still wrestle the same. Just like Sting. Some guys, doesn't matter how old they get, they're just going to be always good. Really good match. I think for next week, or technically next week, we'll be talking about this. I think it's going to be a time limit draw. It's going to be a triple threats, Joe, Hangman, Swerve. Then I think the reason for that, Joe's going to win. He's going to pin Hangman instead of Swerve. Swerve's really hot right now, so Joe pinning Hangman. I mean, Hangman loses every time, so it's not like he's got a chance of winning. So
he didn't deserve that belt again.
So Joe wins, but I think sometime this year or next year, at some point, Swerve will be world champion. I really like the main event. Really, really good main event.
We got a run in there, Adam?
Yeah, that was the girlfriend. She's just hanging out here with me. She just stepped out, so.
Yeah. That's very sensible booking, Connor. I like that. I could go for that. If they had a three-way, let Paige take the pin. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah. Mr. Hargrave, you want to jump in?
Yeah, Rob Van Dam has had a couple matches in AEW. This is by far the best one. It had serious ECW vibes. Very cool. Loved it.
Hell yeah.
The only thing this match was missing is it being in Philadelphia.
Yeah, right.
That's true. And I agree with Connor. I mean, with the booking, if you want to book it, have Hangman eat the Page in a three-way at Revolution. That keeps the door open with Swerve going against Joe one more time, and Swerve kind of building that bigger babyface fan base going forward. And hell, I could see it at the next pay-per-view, maybe at London All In, have Swerve against Joe.
That'd be good.
Agree. I think it's great that RVD, he's got it, mid-50s? Again, we're talking about a guy who's up there in age, but he's not, to me, he's not a nostalgia act because he can still rock. And he's great. Like the fact that, who would have thought in AEW, he was in the main event of a Dynamite and the place is going nuts and saying, this is awesome, chanting his name. That to me is amazing. And that's just the training that, to keep his physique in, to be able to do that and still run with these guys and still get in and look legit. I think it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, Rob Van Dam is 53 years old and he's never stopped wrestling. I mean, there was times when he was in TNA for a while too, doing stuff and then went back to the independents before making some of these appearances in AEW. So he's on the border of the Sting, Billy Gunn kind of train of still doing it in the upper echelon of ages.
Yeah, he'll be still rocking that singlet until he's 75.
Yeah. It's that miracle marijuana, I'm telling you.
Yeah, and he's been on to something. So great to I think overall a good Dynamite, good show. I think it's some good highlights there and stuff to look forward to, which is great. And we're just going to I think as we actually we're right on the hour mark, and we just wanted to talk for a few minutes and kind of pivot over to the competition and WWE. As they start their road to WrestleMania, and there's been a lot of controversy, a lot of people upset, a lot of people not sure what's going to happen. You got injuries in there, you got movie stars that are jumping in, and people are upset. So, Adam, I'll start with you. How do you feel about this, or what are some of your thoughts and predictions?
Well, to be totally honest, it's the storyline. It's where do you want to go with it? It's basically now you've got this backlash of fans that are so against this idea of we missed out on Rock versus Roman. Cody has really built a good reputation in WWE and with the fan base for that matter. And he's really built himself up over the last year and a half from his loss at WrestleMania 39 to get back to where he needs to be. The situation kind of dampened itself because of what's going on with CM Punk. Honestly, if the rumors were true, we were supposed to get Punk winning at EC and challenging Rollins and having Roman against Cody 2 at WrestleMania 40, then by all means, that would have worked out. But unfortunately, the injury to Punk kind of derailed plans. So this is kind of a panic mode for WWE right now. Listen, I've been following stuff, pro wrestling, since the late 80s, early 90s. I'm showing my age as well with everybody too. But with storylines, when you've got injuries, you got to figure out where you go with that when you had plans with it. We saw it with Triple H when he got hurt and tore his quad and didn't come back till 2002. Obviously they had to change plans because they had other plans for him and Steve Austin and all that stuff. So you kind of think what could have been with that storyline had Triple H not torn his quad. Same thing with Punk. Had Punk not tore his arm at Royal Rumble with something bad like the Future Shock, then you could have been like, all right, we're still pressing forward. But now they're in a panic mode. And I've mentioned you guys in our group chat, and I recommend everybody watch it. There's the video for Busted Open, one of my favorite talk shows about pro wrestling with Dave LaGreca, Bully Ray, and Mark Henry. And Bully Ray actually laid out a plan of how WWE saves this. And he brought up one location and one location only, Madison Square Garden. That is where Cody Rhodes' father lost by countout and didn't win the belt, but was holding it. That's where that famous picture was taken of Dusty Rhodes holding that title. So there's talks that the biggest plan, now we might not even see this go forward. We might see something sooner. But the plan that Bully Ray basically laid out is that's where Cody finishes his story with Roman Reigns, is at Madison Square Garden. So it's going to be an interesting, again, I'm not happy because I'm the biggest Cody Rhodes mark outside of David LaGreca. And I really, really want to see Cody win that title as much as I'd like to see, as much as I'd be okay with him going against Seth Rollins. We've already seen that, and it's already been buried, that world heavyweight title, and Seth Rollins was buried by Roman Reigns and WWE in general. And then my last bit here before we move on, my take on Dwayne Johnson. Sorry, that's Dwayne Johnson. That is no longer The Rock. The Rock was buried 10 years ago, 11 years ago after WrestleMania 29 against John Cena. There's no more The Rock. It's Dwayne Johnson. So him coming in not only as a TKO board member, using his power to kind of overstep this, and I know there's stories saying, oh, well, he didn't. This was TKO's idea. No, Dwayne had to have a little bit input on it as well. So in general, it sucks. It's a bad situation for everybody. And honestly, I do hope WWE corrects course and does something about it, because a lot of fans do want to see Cody Rhodes be the top guy for that WWE title and not the world heavyweight title. So that's my take on it.
Right.
What do you think about them saying that this was their plan all along as part of like a manufactured yes movement? Are you buying into that? There's a lot of discourse right now about that, and whether that holds any water or not. What do you think?
My take on that is, for that, yes, I kind of see that they want something. They're taking advantage of it because they didn't. I'm telling you right now, I don't know if it was planned because it was so natural when it came out Friday night going into Saturday morning of the hashtag We Want Cody, that over the weekend, I guarantee you WWE, TKO, and The Rock go, dude, we can do something with this. We can market this as the next Yes movement.
Yes.
Because again, Rock is supportive of Cody. And it's
That's
just
what
a
people have
bad
been saying,
situation of what's going on. Of nobody's, there's half the fan base is the ones that want Rock and Roman because they might not see it again. But there's that big fan base that's behind Cody saying, dude, this guy worked his ass off. And if this is the new Cody, yes, we want Cody movement, I don't know how I feel about how they're moving that forward, because it's got, for me, I like the organic. I like the natural. That was the Yes movement for Daniel Bryanson. It was natural. It was the fans taking over saying, this is the guy we want to see.
Same as
Them
with
just
Kofi.
coming,
Same
with Kofi Mania.
Yeah.
It's natural. I don't like that the fact that if it is brought up that, hey, this was actually the plan, this was marketing idea of the whole We Want Cody movement, you did it in the worst way possible. Because you did not expect that backlash.
Yeah, I find it interesting how people are reacting to it. They're like happy that it's manufactured, but I'm like, that would be bad, right? Now, it has come out that the signs apparently were not planted. For a while there, the story was the signs were being handed out by WWE officials, but now they're confirming with timestamps that those signs were not being handed out by WWE officials. Maybe that's more spin. I don't know. Like, a different news report, a different contradictory news report seems to come out every minute on this thing, which is why I wanted to kind of get some of this out here to try to clear up what has happened and what has transpired since the Royal Rumble. And CM Punk being injured, right, has definitely thrown a huge wrench into whatever it was they were originally doing. But I think one thing's clear, and I think you hit the nail on the head, or Bully Ray did, really, talking about where the story needs to end. Madison Square Garden. That makes a lot of sense. I don't believe in my heart of hearts, and I've said this the last time we were together. Cody's never winning that belt. Roman's not losing at this WrestleMania, no matter what you think is happening or what you think might have been planned. It was never the plan for Roman Reigns to lose. So he may as well beat The Rock or Dwayne Johnson or all of them at once. It doesn't matter. Bring Punk out and in a stretcher and just have him pin him. Who cares at this point? Roman wins. Does anyone here think that Roman has a chance of being beaten at WrestleMania? Let us hear why. Why would that happen?
Okay. Boy, I could go on for hours about this, and I promise I won't. The way that I see it, I think that WWE has been booking and planning all of this without a clear picture of what pieces they've got going into WrestleMania. Going even back to Survivor Series, we may have Punk, right? We may have MJF when his contract is up. We don't know who we have. We may have injuries. We may have this. We may have this. And the pattern that I'm seeing is that they are kind of in this holding pattern. Let us not commit to anything until we absolutely have to. That's how I see it. The one huge mistake I think that they may have made, okay, and I'm still going with this, is for Cody to say, but not at WrestleMania. Those words were terrible, I think, okay? However, I think they're leaning into this We Want Cody thing. Let's see how it goes. We've got lots of options. We've got Brian Gewirtz, who is one of the smartest, most creative guys there is in the universe. And I have a way that this can work. I have a way, if you want to hear it. Okay? Night one of WrestleMania. We have Cody, Seth, and Drew McIntyre in a triple threat. Cody loses. Okay? Or he doesn't win. Let's put it that way. He's dejected. Day two, he's sitting down. We see a backstage vignette. We talked about backstage vignettes. Him and R-Truth, right? R-Truth talking about, man, this thing with the Judgment Day, it's not going the way that I thought. They're not accepting me, this kind of thing. And Cody's like, yeah, man, I know exactly what you mean, and this and that. And they kind of commiserate a little bit. R-Truth does his thing, and he says, okay, Cody, I'll talk to you later. I got to go sell some shirts. Goes to the Judgment Day room as Judgment Day is preparing to go out for their tag team match. And Damian Priest is like, Truth, we're busy. Just, make yourself at home. Do whatever you want. Okay? And Truth is like, okay, picked up the shirts. But then he's like, oh, that's interesting. Picks up something else. And later on, you see him at a concession stand. He's selling shirts. Like, Cody, I got something special for you, bro. With the wink that he does. And at the end, we have the Rock Roman match, which goes as you would expect every Roman match in the world, right? Solo comes in, interferes, beats up the Rock, whatever. Roman wins. He's standing there. It's like, oh my God, this is so horrible. And then you hear Kingdom start up. And Cody's out there with Damian Priest's briefcase. Right?
I mean...
And then they have a match. Rock's been beaten up by Solo, but after 5 or 10 minutes, he gets up, he takes out Solo, and said, Cody, I was wrong. Finish the story.
That's a beautiful tale, but wouldn't it be so much simpler if Roman just reigns and Roman Reigns wins and all the children cry?
I would cry.
I find that more believable, honestly. I just find it more believable that Roman Reigns wins and all the children cry. I mean,
but what makes more money?
At the end of the day, all right, that's another. I'm glad you brought it up because that's another thing people keep saying is, well, it's got to be Rock versus Roman because of the money, because of the money, because of the money. How much fucking money does the WWE need? And can't we just get the goddamn end of the story already?
I don't disagree with you. They should have had it at WrestleMania 39, and then we wouldn't be in this mess. I don't disagree with you one bit.
I just don't get the money thing. When you've got more money than God, when you're the number one guy.
It's the shareholders. There's not enough money in this world for the shareholders.
What the hell?
Let's,
Why is it the money?
Siren, do you want to jump in?
Go ahead.
I think it's really funny that you say it's about money. Anybody would say that it's about money because at the end of the day, when they put Rock in that position, yeah, it may make more money for WrestleMania, may draw eyes for 1 or 2 days, but you just pissed off your entire fan base that purchases all your merch, that goes to all your fucking all your shows all the time. It's like The Rock literally, and I've said it before and I'll say it again. I feel like the whole situation, Cody Rhodes himself. I'm in a position of power, so I'm going to put myself into a position where I can win. And the people hated it.
And it sure looks that way, right? And what if The Rock turns face at WrestleMania and says, I was wrong?
I mean,
I'm
that would
sorry.
be really
Finish
cool.
the
The
story.
point is, I just don't think that would. It would be neato. But I've already said my opinions on this whole thing, and the last thing that I'm going to say on it is that if you have not watched the press conference, like the media scrum from after the Royal Rumble, do not do it. Do not do it. It hurts. It's painful. It's literally like you're like, oh, cool. Oh, look, it's Bailey. Oh, look at you go, Bailey. And then all of a sudden they announce Cody, and you're like, oh no, because you know what's coming. He's all psyched, and it's brutal.
They can still salvage it. I think they can still salvage it.
He's like, my fans are vindicated after tonight. All my fans are vindicated, and then he goes out the next day, and he's like, yeah, never mind.
Well, I got the sense at the press conference. I don't know if you picked this up, but he was like. And Triple H kind of backed him up on it or jumped on the same point where, like, it's going to happen. I'm the guy, but maybe not right now. And, Paul Levesque comes out and kind of says, like, hey, absolutely, we stand by Cody. But, like, later. Like, not at WrestleMania, guys. Like, calm down. Like, I really felt like they were setting expectations at that media scrum or whatever you want to call it.
Rumor has it that this whole thing was actually over Triple H too. This whole decision was over Triple H's head. And rumor backstage is, again, we Amer says in the chats, we shouldn't go off dirt sheets. We shouldn't believe dirt sheets. But there are things coming out backstage saying that, like Triple H and creative were kind of disheveled about it because, again, you couldn't have predicted CM Punk's injury at the Rumble. So that press conference does kind of make sense. But the next day when you find out Punk is hurt, then that's when WWE goes into this panic mode. And that's when the heads and Dwayne Johnson kind of overstepped creative and said, no, we need to do this just so we can both A, save WrestleMania, make money, but B, you also have to remember, this is coming a week during the Vince McMahon scandal. They are
Yes.
trying to deter eyes away from that and
Mhm.
more so on the product. But now you're just alienating your own fan base by, hey, ignore that. Look, we got Dwayne Johnson to bring back your childhood memories. It's like, dude, I don't give a shit about a 53-year-old washed up wrestler who lives in Hollywood now making billions of dollars going on Oprah Winfrey coming into the
Buying
ring
up
and
half of Miami.
ruining a product that I put my money in. I've supported you these last couple of years, this last decade after Rock left, these new superstars. You have a plethora of a locker room. I talk about this. I'm about to go on a rant here and then I'm done. I talked about this on AEW. AEW's roster, stacked. WWE's roster, stacked. Why are we not using these wrestlers properly? Why are we not pushing these stars? Why do we have to go back to this nostalgia that most wrestling promotions do now? They go back and they bring in these old-timey wrestlers who, some of them, they can't even go in the ring anymore. If you watch that match with John Cena, even in 2013, Rock was gassed. He was gassed, and then he was injured. It's bad. In doing that segment with Jinder Mahal, he was gassed walking to the ring. Sorry, age does catch up with you, and as fans, we love the nostalgia, but we don't want it in our wrestling ring if it means making you money. I'm sorry, as a wrestling fan, I want to see new stars build. I want to see roster being utilized. I'd rather see someone like a Gunther, Walter go against a Seth Rollins, or someone like Drew McIntyre and Sami Zayn going against Seth Rollins and maybe a triple threat match. That's my plan. You've got a roster of guys that are main event guys that you could push in there, yet you bring back a washed up Hollywood guy whose movies bomb and basically put him on the board, and now he can do whatever the hell he wants. That's my rant on it.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you said it too, because this reminds me in a favorable way of what Cody was doing back in AEW. Cody was wrestling everybody. And it's really annoying that he comes to the WWE and he's wrestled like 3 people total.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, it just keeps rematching.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally rather see him against anybody. I don't want to see him against Roman or Seth at WrestleMania. I mean, the match we wanted would be Cody versus Punk, but that's not happening. So I don't know what the hell we're going to get.
Well, with that, unless Connor, unless you have any final thoughts as we wrap up.
All I'm going to say is Adam just created the best segment we've ever had on this entire podcast. Just that will be on our AZ Daily. I don't know when, but sometime this will probably this drops this Saturday. So sometime after Saturday, that's going to be on our AZ Daily, and hopefully it rolls up. That's all I'm going to say about it. Really,
Hey, that was a great
Yeah,
one. Another
Put
great
me on level
episode.
with Bully Ray. I want to be level with Bully Ray. Bully
I'm
Ray,
gonna tag
Ray,
Bully
if you
Ray.
watch this, you and I need to talk, buddy.
I'm going to tag Dave LaRecca and Bust It Open and that when I
Yeah.
post it.
Nice.
Very
You guys may be right. I just think that there are ways to salvage it, and I think there are a lot of agendas going on backstage. There's no question about that. And yes, this is about, as Adam said, you know, hey, don't look over there, look over here. That's obvious, right? No question. I won't deny it. But they've got the creative people back there who can make this work if there is the will to do it.
Yeah. Well, we can always catch up next week as well as we continue the road to WrestleMania and these developments. So we'll touch on this next week. But awesome show. And the viewers, if you've got any thoughts on AEW, the Dynamite, or anything to do with what we're talking about here with WrestleMania potential matches, by all means, put your comments in. We'd love to see them. And please invite your friends, family, like and subscribe. Another great episode. Thank you very much, everyone. And we'll do it all again next week. Take care. Have a good night.